Was Sarah Silverman earlier in the evening at the Democratic National Convention yesterday. And Christine Bellino, good morning.
Good morning. The whole thing was ridiculous. I cannot believe that they discounted the Bernie Sanders people like they did. There were a couple of points when it happened, and then I don't know.
How do you think they? I guess I watched some and of what I could tolerate, but how do you think they discounted? How do you think they discounted them?
I think that
I think they were front and center. I'm not sure what you were watching, but they were front and center the entire day and night. I don't know that they could be discounted. What's that?
It's too late, I think. It was too late. I think that, when people were booed off the stage, I think that Bernie Sanders supporters feel like it's too little, too late.
Right, but I don't think they were. I don't know how they were discounted. I think they were a real big part of day one, especially, and it did change after Michelle Obama last night, which was in prime time. But it was something yesterday, and you got to be. It's interesting to watch some of the protests, and the temperature is very hot there too in Philadelphia. It's like 105 degrees, almost as hot as it is here in the studio this morning. Christine, but you have hotter temperatures there in Mississippi. So what happened yesterday at the convention with the Mississippi state flag? This was really in Philadelphia, and it was the city of Philadelphia that took action. But the flag, the Mississippi flag, was taken down. And I'm following this because Christine is in Mississippi right now. So what happened? What was the reasoning for all of that?
People were protesting outside because of the fact that the Mississippi state flag contains the Confederate flag in it. In the upper left-hand corner, the Mississippi state flag, has a miniature version of the Confederate flag.
Right, where the blue stars, where the white stars and the blue rectangle is on the American flag is where the Confederate flag is on the Mississippi flag.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. People were protesting.
So and police were actually, Philadelphia police were actually standing there guarding the Mississippi flag, and there were people taunting them as they were trying to climb the pole and pull the flag down yesterday. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, city police took the flag down, and I think there were a couple of different flags. Now, this is because, all the state flags are lining the streets there in Philadelphia?
Right, they're on the lampposts in Philadelphia, and obviously some people object to the Confederate flag. And, it's a topic that's being discussed in Mississippi. Some of the schools here have taken down the state flag while they consider what the state flag is going to be. So this is a topic that's already being considered in Mississippi. But there's also a Philadelphia, Mississippi. So when the story first came down yesterday, we thought it was Philadelphia, Mississippi, not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So it was interesting.
And what is I would imagine the take is the larger the city in Mississippi, the more tolerant people are to taking the flag down, to changing the flag. Whereas when you get into the smaller cities and the more rural areas, it's probably the flag or bust. What's the general feel there in Mississippi?
Well, I think everybody recognizes the fact that it is a part of history here. And many people think, okay, it's a part of history, but it does not stand for what Mississippi stands for. And it's unfortunate because there is a perception and in some cases a misperception that there's more racism here than in other places in the country. And, there is a movement afoot to change the flag. So, that's a topic. Nobody was really surprised when it was taken down yesterday.
Interesting stuff. So, Andrew, give us a lineup of who we're going to be able to talk to here this morning. Of course, Anthony Brindisi is one of the delegates who's down there in Philadelphia. It'd be interesting to see his take on all of this last night. It did become far more respectful, I think, after it hit prime time, after 10 o'clock when the Michelle Obama gave her speech, which, by the way, has gotten pretty strong reviews. She probably was the best of the night. You think that's the case, Christine?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Better than Bernie Sanders even.
Well, and Bernie Sanders, you got to understand, I think with Bernie Sanders, if you follow any Bernie Sanders through the year, That's a Bernie Sanders speech, and it took him a long time to come around to even mention Hillary Clinton's name. But he gave it almost seemed like it was more of an extension of his campaign than it was an endorsement. But by the end, he was clearly endorsing Hillary Clinton, and it did. Unlike earlier in the day when he met with Bernie Sanders, when he met with his delegates. And he was actually booed when he tried to tell everybody, hey, you got to vote for Hillary Clinton. It was much better, much more, it was well received much more in the evening than it was earlier in the day. So do we have Anthony this morning, Andrew? Have we been able
I believe so, yes.
Reach up with him? And then, of course, there's that Herkimer delegate. He was the kid that was trying to bring Bernie Sanders to the auditorium. And he was with us yesterday. Very excited. We got him right about the time he was getting his credentials. So you have a great deal of excitement, but this did not go the way I think the Democrats had planned, especially with the WikiLeaks email scandal. And, Christine, you got to be thinking there has to be more to come, right, in terms of leaked emails?
Absolutely. And just a note on the Bernie Sanders thing. I talked to somebody yesterday who was a diehard Bernie supporter and characterized his speech last night as being somewhat of a sellout. And I don't know if that's indicative of what the rest of Bernie's supporters think.
But don't you think that is stupid? I mean, wouldn't you just like to smack that person side of the head? And here's why. Welcome to the real world. This has happened. How many losers are there in politics throughout the history of the United States? A lot of them. And if you're a part of a party, supposedly this Democratic Party is so united. If you're part of a party, then you lose and you get on board and you support the candidate, right?
Absolutely. And when I said that or something similar to that to this person, he replied, well, Bernie represented something different. It's not about party unity. It's about making change. So I asked him, I said, well, will you still vote Democratic then? Will you vote for Hillary? Or
It's about making change. So I give you $1 and you give me $2 back. That's the change that they see.
But he said his response was that he wasn't going to vote. And I said, that's not a proper, proper way to go either.
And my guess is that person never voted anyway, didn't vote beforehand. I mean, if you can see Republicans getting behind Donald Trump, you should be able to see the same thing with Bernie Sanders people getting behind Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's been pretty tough for establishment Republicans, but hey, they were there at the Republican convention. Is it any surprise that this seems to be more out of control than what everybody thought the Republican Party was going to be? This was supposed to be the Republicans having all the craziness, but it turns out it's the Democrat convention. Big surprise? Or did you expect it?
I think that we expected it from the Democratic side. I expected more on the Republican side.